So here, my name is Councillor Leshaka Manamela. I'm originally the MMC responsible for environmental resources and waste management. But today I'm here in the capacity as the acting MMC for water and sanitation on behalf of Councillor Tembisa, who is on leave for this retirement. So I've been requested on my arrival here that I need to program direct the program. So I was hijacked, but I think I'll be able to manage it. So you are all welcome here. The stakeholders that are here, ERVAT, the department as well. I think we have various NGOs that are here. You are all welcome. And then part of our program, they said we must change into the Regalia, of which that is already being done. So just going to actually ask the DM to give us the purpose of today's program. Over to you, DM.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to try and be as shop steward-like as possible. And thank you, Councillor Manamela, for gracing us with your presence and standing in for Councillor Msomi. Msani, sorry. Hey, actually, I've not seen her for a while, but we work well together nonetheless. Thank you to our provincial head for DWS, Mr. Justice Maluleke. I have seen the chairperson of Rand Water, Tate Munyokolo is here. Our water entities here, ERVAT is here, TCTA is also here. I'm trying to make sure that I don't forget anybody, but for purposes of just making sure that those who actually are the biggest beneficiaries and contributors to the work that we're doing here today, the Hanops River Revival guys are here, the NGOs, the community of Tembisa, and really the city of Ekurhuleni as well. I know that you guys are bothering the city of Johannesburg, so many of the challenges that we face, I was just there in Ivory Park. I thought it was Ekurhuleni. They said, no, go back, don't make a mistake. I was about to call the mayor. The mayor in his absentia, Elderman Kakaza as well. Maybe he'll come sooner or whilst we're still busy. I see there are school children here, and I suppose the message must be very strong, particularly as it relates to why we are here today. Colleagues, the Department of Water and Sanitation is launching its Clear Rivers campaign today. And we know that July is a significant month for us in the country because it's also the month where we celebrate the legendary statesman that is Utatu Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. You see, I said my steward voice is not working. So on the 18th of July, be that as it may, over the past 11 months, I've crisscrossed the country. I've visited many rivers and dams. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry to be the bearer of bad news. South Africa is facing a pollution crisis. We may very well not be facing a water crisis, but we are halfway there if we do not address the state of our rivers and dams in terms of the quality of the raw water. Ultimately, municipalities of Gauteng alone combined, all of them, just as an interesting statistic, as emanating from or as born out of the article that was written by Professor Turton in April. And he says that municipalities in Gauteng combined are discharging 1,500 million liters of raw sewage per day. 1,500 million liters of raw sewage. Just up the road, we saw what is not an overflow of a manhole, but what is a river that is overflowing from a manhole in the city of Johannesburg. That is entering stormwater drainages, ending up in our rivers and dams. That is an unsustainable situation, because if you have not been able to really look at the value chain of water, particularly from a cost point of view, let me paint you a picture. Here where Rand Water is supplying Gauteng, they are augmented by the water that we are getting from Lesotho into the integrated Vaal River system. We are getting over 730 million cubic meters of water that we are getting from the Kingdom of Lesotho. We are paying millions of rands per month to the Kingdom of Lesotho. In fact, 10% of Lesotho's GDP is dependent on the royalties that we pay for the water that we are getting from the Ash River. 10% of Lesotho's GDP. But here's the problem. When you go to Clarence to the Ash River outfall and you stand there and you see the water coming from the tunnel, that is blue water. It is water that you can immediately take Well, you need to treat it first, but it will be very cheap. And it can be treated to potable standards. What happens? It enters the integrated Vaal River system with all of its 14 dams. And what does it find there? Grey water. What does it mean for rainwater? It means for rainwater to abstract that water, they need to now treat it in terms of Sense 241 2015 to potable standards where me and you can be able to drink it. It means that treatment is skyrocketing. It means to sell it to Ekurhuleni, Joburg and other municipalities in bulk. The city of Ekurhuleni, they have to now pay a lot of money because they need to recoup the treatment of that water. But who bears the cost? It's you, the consumers. It's you, the business people, who must pay more money because rainwater has had to spend more money to treat. Ekurhuleni has had to spend more money to buy in bulk. And now they need to also recoup so that they are able to also then continue to purchase bulk water from their water services provider. This is the vicious cycle that we are trying to address as the Department of Water and Sanitation through campaigns like this. But campaigns like this, colleagues, they come in this month of July. After that, we're all gone. But that's why we've got people that deal with Hanops River revival. That's why we've got the state of Jaske River as it is now. There's a lot of people who are sick because for many years, the stench of the sewer has affected them, has affected the environment. Nobody's talking about the issue of pollution. You know why, MMC? Because people don't protest because our rivers and dams are polluted. They protest because there's no water coming out of their taps. And yet, the determining factor of the quality of the water that comes out of your tap is dependent on how clean and clear our rivers are. So the beginning of this value chain, we've abandoned it. Because the fact that we can't swim in rivers anymore, nobody is bothered. The fact that people cannot go and catch fishes, nobody is bothered. The fact that the local economy has really taken a turn for the worst. Because in Jaske River there, when you go to Alexandra, where people have to do recreation, plant grass, back home, what do you call those things? But business and whatnot, they can't do that. Why? Because the stream it smells so terrible. So polluted rivers and dams aren't just about the fact that our rivers are not healthy anymore and that they are unable to self-remediate. It is the environmental impact that it has. It is the health aspect where people are getting sick. When they go to clinics, they are told you've got respiratory issues. How when you look at what the cause might have been, it is the air that you are breathing. Mm-hmm. But nobody is able to pinpoint exactly what is causing the condition of the air. In the city of Cape Town, they've got a unique problem. They've got a wet wipes problem. Why? Because makeup. When you go to bed, you pull it out, you clean. After you clean, you don't take it to the bin. You take it to the toilet and you flush it down. Those things are non-biodegradable. Now you've got tons and tons of these things that are converging at a certain point, and then they clog the system. Young learners are here, and we need to start there. I always say I'm a product of Love Life. There are those who are 35 like me who know what Love Life is. I'm a product of that. Everything that I needed to know about, whether it's sex education, whether it's public speaking, whether it's the dangers of alcohol, the dangers of smoking, we learned from Love Life. But Love Life was an on-the-ground movement. It wasn't a national campaign, it was an on-the-ground movement, enabled by funders at various spheres of government. If municipalities cannot come up with programs to address these issues that I'm talking about and take them to schools, we are going to have adults who have absolutely no regard for after they take out their last cigarette from their pocket and they just throw it there. Our school children, after they have their mazimba and their lollipop, they just throw there. That is part of pollution. That ends up somewhere. If it does not end up in the bin, it ends up somewhere. And most likely it ends up in our rivers, it ends up in our dams. What then happens? Our dams are unable to take the load They're unable to take the load. That's why Taryn Johnson and her colleagues have to come up with huge plastics like these ones that you are having, have to enter the Jaskei and the Hanops River. They need to pull out all the plastic and the rugs and everything. Some of the things that we put in our sanitation infrastructure is unbelievable. Cow head, duvet, pillow, fetuses, sponges, trees, domestic animals that are dying. All of those things, colleagues, whilst I might be poised to blame municipalities, because the biggest contributors to pollution are dysfunctional wastewater infrastructure, I must also then pause to say, what are we doing in terms of changing our attitude towards water and sanitation infrastructure? So the water that comes out of your tap comes from somewhere. It did not just magically appear. Somebody had to spend millions of rands to connect it to your home. Water in this country is supposed to be self-financing. There's nothing for mahala in this country. If you are getting it for free, somebody subsidized it. And that is the taxpayer. And I must also talk about something that I witnessed in Alexandra and that I'm witnessing here today. In your municipality, MMC, Stand, they say one fella was supposed to accommodate a family of 4, a family of 3. Is now accommodating people that are 10 in the stand, overwhelming the system. But as I often say, everything starts and ends with municipalities. If we are to get South Africa right, we must get municipalities to work. It's a fact, it's not theory, I'm not making it up. Go and read it up. If you want South Africa to work, municipalities must work. First world countries and first world countries, because they build mega infrastructure and businesses and big, is because there are small businesses that are thriving within the environment where they are situated. Because government has enabled that to happen. For people to get jobs in this stream here, it has to be clean, it has to be accommodating, it has to be welcoming. If it is not, then we are going to have an issue of unemployment. We are going to have an issue of poverty, because we are unable to use what God has given to us to benefit from it. That is the biggest problem. And municipalities have to be at the center of reforms in this country. It's a fact. Go and look at municipalities that work, and go and look at how people are thriving. SMMEs, how they are thriving. Go and look at those things. These aren't just talks, colleagues. These are things that are happening practically. So as we endeavor today to come and try and do what is right with our resources, natural resources, we hope that it does not end today. We hope that Outsurance and other companies will come on board and sponsor South Africans who really genuinely understand what I'm saying. But all of us here together, we must wake up every day recognizing the significance of the beginning of the value chain before we can even begin to acknowledge the water that is coming out of our taps. Because for it to come from our taps, it started somewhere. Water security is going to be a crisis. In 2030, we are going to have a localized deficits of water. Populations are growing. Communities are growing. Infrastructure has to also grow and accommodate the growth. Unfortunately, if you thought Mutomung stand there somewhere, it's not all of us who are going to have waterborne sanitation. Because the water demand in this country is just too high. That's why Amalulu technology, those things are important. So all of us, whilst we are here today, all of you see, there's a lot of people here. When we leave Tembisa, can we allow the residents of Tembisa, who love their nature, who love their environment, to also form groups where they are going to be committed and dedicated to clearing our rivers? MMC, our communities need support. We as municipalities are enablers. And if we can't do it ourselves as government, communities will do it. We just have to allow them to do so by providing them the environment and the pleasure to do so. Whether it is providing them with resources, funds, or whatever the case may very well be. Because in the long run, Bana ba rona have to be able to inherit a South Africa e re e bereketseng rona ka matsogo a rona. So I thank each and every one of you here this morning, and I really hope this does not just become, this is a launch of the Clear Rivers campaign, but we hope that it will be an ongoing endeavor until such time that we can begin to see people catching fish that is healthy to eat, safe to eat, where we are able to see rivers flowing that are not gray but blue. That for me is a fight that I am willing to proceed and fight until inside of government and outside of government, because I've adopted now the love for this thing, because I know what it means for all of us. I'm sorry to be a little bit long, but this issue is very close to my heart, and I hope that it will, from today, it will also be close to your hearts, and that you will endeavor to make sure that we protect our rivers. Municipalities, start fixing your wastewater treatment infrastructure. Please, otherwise, la tronco. We're taking you to jail. We're taking you to jail. You are laughing. We're going to jail. Where's the MM of the city of Ekuru? You're going to jail soon. The amendments to the National Water Act are there. They're going to Parliament. We're taking you to jail. I'm not playing. In that sour note, let me end there and thank every one of you. Thank you so much, MMC, for coming. It's always good to see you. Let us get our hands dirty. Please, leskale malang, don't fall, don't go to where you are not supposed to go, don't stray off and do something, because I'm in trouble if that happens. But I'll hold the new chairperson of Evans, Otan Tusa. Work together. Thank you so much, colleagues. Thank you.